Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to join our podcast. Today we have Elliot Lindberg. Elliot is an 18-year-old Swedish prodigy, youngest software engineer at Lovable, 310,000 users at age 14, Snapchat filters with 14 views at 12, learning Chinese, solo traveling Europe to different conferences at 15, and recently visit Shenzhen in China. So, hey Elliot,
So,
hey, thank you so much for being here today.
yeah,
So, yeah, how do you feel about today? Are you in Sweden right now or?
yeah. Currently, I am in Sweden, and it's very cold outside.
Yeah.
I don't really like cold weather, to be honest. I think it's
Uh-huh.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
But what's good with it is that it keeps you locked in.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
you, you don't want to be outside. You just want to be inside, and you want to ship stuff.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, it seems like you have been shipping stuff all the time. First of all, you build software with 310,000 users at 14. Most of
Yeah.
the people, at the age of 14, they were pretty much just playing games, right? So
hmm
what was going on in your head back then? Like, what
Yeah.
made you start?
Yeah, so as you said, most people at the age of 14 were playing games, and I was not
Uh-huh.
an exception. So one of the tools that I made, it was
Hmm.
actually to help me in while playing games. So it was an auto clicker that I made when I was 14. I was using
Hmm.
Linux at the time, and I realized that, oh shit, there's no good auto clicker for Linux. And I was
Uh-huh.
playing Minecraft, and I wanted to like click faster, so I could be better. Um,
Uh-huh.
but then I was like, let's create my own, because I also wanted to learn C at that time, and
Hmm.
I always go for the same principle when I want to learn something. I don't just like procrastinate or read books. Let's jump into a project and then just learn by doing, and that is the best way. So what I did is I said, okay, I need an auto clicker for Linux, and I want to learn C. So what do? I
Yeah.
start using C, and I start making an auto clicker in C. There you go.
Yeah.
And then originally I made it for myself. Like I did it. I had
Hmm.
no idea that other people want to use it, but
Hmm.
I created it. I launched it on GitHub, and I posted it on Reddit. And then a bunch of people loved it, like in the Linux gaming community. And yeah,
Hmm.
it just been a lot of downloads.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you created your first invention at 8.
Yeah.
Was it following the same experience or similar kind of like journey for you?
Yeah. So I have that claim on my website, and some people have told me that it sounds
Uh-huh.
fake. And the thing is, I also thought it was
But it
fake,
was real.
but it is real. It is real. Let me tell you a backstory. So when
Uh-huh.
I was 8 years old, I did an invention that I later kind of forgot about. But
Hmm.
then I opened my folder, I saw this paper, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember I did this. But the thing is, I didn't remember how old I was when I made it. And then I looked at the date, and I was like, okay, wait, how old was I really when I made this? And I was like, shit,
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
8. I was
Yeah.
8 years old, and I was like, what was I doing back then? But what
Hmm.
I did is, I was very into locks, like
Hmm.
locks on doors. And currently, like back then, at least in Sweden, a lot of the door locks they didn't have, like you had to use a key, and I was like, fuck it, like that's so inefficient. Like I want to have a
Uh-huh.
lock where I can use a key, I can use like a tag, I can use my mobile app to open it, and there
Hmm.
was no locks that worked that way back
Hmm.
then. So
Hmm.
what I did is I like drew up a sketch. I like how it should work and everything, and I sent it
Uh-huh.
in to their CEO when I was 8.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Yeah.
and that was kind of funny, and I didn't expect a reply, but the CEO he like replied, gave me his signature, and he was like, "Yeah, that's super cool. I got
Hmm.
merch." And I didn't think much of it. But then like
Hmm.
1 or 2 years later, as I was gonna go like swimming, I was like,
Yeah.
shit, this lock looks a bit familiar.
Hmm.
And and then the log that I saw, it was like almost exactly the same as the one that I sent to them before.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess you could call it an invention. Yeah,
Well, it
yeah,
sounds like a real invention. I would not totally be honest. So yeah, of course. So yeah, and also like back in the school, I remember the first time when we met each other, you said you graduated from high school early.
yeah,
You finished all your high school programming classes, in 3 weeks instead of three
yeah.
years. Um, how did your teacher react to that? And it's like kind of curious, like, what do you feel about it, to be honest? Like, you just wrap up everything pretty fast, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I like moving
Uh,
fast. So what happened is, when I started here in okay, well, I graduated in Finland, but Finland and Sweden is kind of
uh,
similar. You have like
hmm
the primary normal school, which you go from
hmm
grade 1 to 9, and
hmm
then at grade 9 you're like 16, and then when
hmm
you're like 17 you start the gymnasium, and this is like a 3 year, like the end of high school in America, and it's
Yeah,
like a 3 year thing you do before you start university.
yeah.
And here I could like choose to go the general gymnasium. I could choose to like specifically learn more like coding related, like
hmm
programming. I could do like car mechanic or whatever. Uh,
hmm
but the thing is, like, I was like, okay, cool, I can choose programming, but I know
hmm
it's going to be too easy for me. Like I
hmm
already knew that. Um, but I was like, so I wanted to say like, why don't I just like, because I didn't want to go anyways. Like that's what I told my parents. Like I don't want to go to this gymnasium thing, like because I feel like I will already know everything that they're gonna teach me. But my parents were
hmm
like, no, you gotta go, you gotta go. So one time I told them like, if I have to go, I'm gonna go and do some fucking hairdressing or something,
Yeah, yeah.
like study hairdressing. But then they were like, no, 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 no. And I was like, okay, okay, fuck it. Let's do
hmm
programming. So then I did
hmm
programming and the general thing at the same time. So I'm getting like two diplomas.
hmm
So one of these diplomas I can use for getting into universities in Finland if I would want to, and then the other one I can use to get into universities in Sweden and the rest of the world. But the thing is, I don't wanna go to university, but I could.
But you can learn from Lovable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So 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 yeah, that's what happened. And then I started the general thing and the programming thing at the same time. And
hmm
when I started the general thing, I was doing it twice the speed already, because I had to compact it to be able to do it together with this one. And the general one, it included subjects like English, geography,
Yeah.
mathematics, whatever. And then I had the programming side of things. It's where I had
hmm
like web development, like API coding, databases, whatever.
hmm
And how it worked is that we had periods of each thing. So, for instance, we had a coding thing we had for maybe 3 months, and then we had
hmm
the general things for like 1.5 months, and then we had the coding things for 3 months, and then that's how it was structured. Um,
hmm
but what I realized in those coding periods is like, okay, now they started learning HTML, and I was
hmm
like, okay, I was there sitting, and I was like, uh. I'm not gonna do this. So I was like,
uh
I was doing my own things. I was
Yeah.
just like doing my React, and then I was doing some freelancing projects. And then
Yeah.
eventually the teachers caught on, and they were like, "Why are you not doing the assignments?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Why should I do this? Like I already know this." And they're like, at first they were very skeptical, but then
uh
after they checked my GitHub, they were like, "Okay, you're gonna come
Yeah.
here and you're gonna sit down in this room with all of us,
hmm
like all the
hmm
teachers. Just sat
uh
down and you're gonna have to sit down and you're gonna have to tell us like your whole story. So then I sat down and I explained what I've been doing. And then in the end they were like so yeah. And then we agreed on terms together
hmm
that I can just complete the programming classes and
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
without having to do them. So
Oh,
I like
wow.
those because I could show that I already know everything that they're going to teach. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so I can do
Wow.
it like
S-
exam.
So they pretty much just, let you
Yeah, I mean,
graduate in that
I
way.
did the like finals for it, but I didn't have to do the classes because there was no point, and they saw
That's
it.
fire. That's fire. Right. So yeah, I guess like, from all the HTML or the React, these things, I kind of feel like, all this kind of works these days have been replaced by Lovable, right? So you don't have to
Yeah,
like, learn how to
yeah,
do the HTML and the React and different
yeah,
other
yeah.
things,
Nowadays,
anyway. So
what are you learning, man? Like you don't have to know that shit anymore. You just have to know how to prompt.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Wow. So yeah, so you became, the youngest software engineer at Lovable at the
yeah,
age of 17. How
yeah.
did that actually happen? I noticed that maybe someone just sent you a DM, maybe the founder sent you a DM, hey, do you want to have an internship at Lovable? Is that
Yeah.
how it happened? But before that, what's going on? What's the story?
Yeah, so what happened was that I had to do an internship with my
Uh-huh.
high school, and I
hmm
was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this internship somewhere, I want to do it at the best place ever. Like
Hmm.
otherwise, like I'm not gonna do it at some shit place. Like what the fuck?
Hmm.
Like I don't wanna.
Hmm.
I don't wanna sit there like 9 to 5, doing
Hmm.
like good morning, goodbye. Like that's boring. So,
Hmm.
so I want to do something fun, and then
Yeah.
I want to make an impact. And then I saw like Lovable, shit, is the fastest growing startup, and this was the beginning
Hmm.
of 2025. And then I was
Hmm.
like, okay, this sounds interesting. I'm gonna do my internship here, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna like quit school because I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, then what I did is I I sent him an email. I sent
Hmm.
Anton an email, and
Hmm.
I told him that I've used this product.
Hmm.
I tried using Shopify with it, but it
Hmm.
didn't work. And I was like, okay,
Hmm.
let me join, and I can fix it.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then a couple weeks later, I pulled up at the office, just started doing things, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then that's what we're doing.
Oh wow. So you have been working there for almost like 2 years, right? From
No,
then?
not 2 years. It's like 1 year now. Yeah,
Yeah. Makes sense. So I saw you have also written a blog post about vibe coding on a Shopify store
yeah,
with Lovable. Is this
yeah,
how, because you send them a code message, you don't say, okay,
yeah,
I'm trying to do something with Shopify,
yeah,
but apparently Lovable didn't support at the time, and you just made it happen when
yeah.
you joined
Yeah.
Lovable. Is this a story?
Yeah, yeah. So I
Wow.
joined Lovable. I wanted to make this happen. Then I got a bit sidetracked in the start and started fixing like the global caching. Like I saw the deployments were super slow. It took like 2 seconds to load a website that was deployed on Lovable. I was like,
Hmm.
it cannot be like this. And I fixed it, implemented like global caching. Then now it only takes like less than 150 milliseconds to load a website. Uh, and yeah, I fixed a lot of things like that. But then yeah, eventually like after the summer last year, I built a Shopify integration together with the team, and yeah, and then
No, we
that's how.
haven't.
Yeah, now
No, it
now it's
happens.
done. It's
Yeah,
done.
you just killed other, potential interns, who wants to apply to Lovable, who are
Yeah,
trying to, figure out how to build a Shopify store,
yeah,
but,
yeah,
but now it's supported. So, wow. So yeah. So for example, at Lovable, apparently you are seeing a lot of things, right? So you are pretty much just working at one of the most frontier, AI companies in the world. And then what do you think about, this like incoming trend of AI? First of all, we all agree that the software engineering side will be completely changed in a way.
mm,
So many people they are talking about agents and different other things. So what do you see? What is the, something that you really feel like is coming?
yeah. So what I see is that the internet is going to change,
Uh-huh.
and there's no doubt. There's no doubt. And like currently, we've had websites where you have humans interacting with
Hmm.
interfaces. It's optimized for humans to browse. But I think in the
Hmm.
future, the internet is not going to focus on you like humans that are
Human
gonna build
interaction.
it. It's gonna be the computer is gonna read it. The
Hmm.
computer is gonna book your flight. The computer is gonna do this. The computer is gonna interact with every website.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that is the way that AI is moving towards. It's going
Hmm.
to be less work for humans to get things done, and the agents
Hmm.
are going to do more.
Yeah, makes sense. And also, like people, they are saying that apps, applications, they are dying. Do you think this is what will happen?
I'm thinking that apps will exist, but in a
Hmm.
different form.
Yeah.
They will still exist because someone has to build the integration layer for something to happen, right? Like
Hmm.
I cannot have I cannot have a flight be booked
Yeah.
without someone managing
Yeah.
that the flight actually gets booked somehow.
Hmm.
So it still needs to happen, and like a lot of legacy tech is going to exist. Like AI is not going to replace the flight systems that airplanes use
Yeah.
to file flight paths. It's still going to
Yeah.
be a lot of like legacy apps out there, but I believe in the future we're going to have more apps that are focused on not end users but rather end agents.
Hmm.
And also, we might have in the near future, I think we will be using more apps that I create for my own personal thoughts instead of
Hmm.
trying to fine tune an existing product.
Yeah.
So let's say I want a CRM. I'm not gonna go buy something. I might just use a vibe coding tool and just make it,
Yeah.
and then I can. tune it to however I
Hmm.
want it instead of having
Yeah.
to like try to do some weird things. And I think this is the way that we're moving in the close future before everything goes AI agent.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but I believe even though we have AI agents, you're still going to be able to build apps that the
Yeah.
agents can interact with. And even
Yeah.
then, you want to have these apps be tailored to how you want it. And I believe like AI coding is very great. Yeah.
Right, makes sense. To summarize your thoughts, is pretty much, apps, first of all, they will still exist. They will be legacy apps, or they are kind of apps in different forms, but
Yeah.
apps are pretty much just are still here to create value. And the agents are pretty much just going to be act as a coordination layer to coordinate those apps to improve
Yeah.
the human interaction, user experience, and all that. So website, also will change over time. Like, for now, it's human interactable, pretty much just human, computer interaction, but gradually over time it will be more towards, machine interaction or even like agent interaction and all that. So that's pretty much your thoughts
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah. That's very true.
Nice, nice. Anything that you think, your experience of traveling Europe solo at 15 to attend conferences help you to form this kind of thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I feel my view of everything has grown much more like internationally by
Hmm.
meeting people in the tech scene.
Yeah.
Because of course there are some tech people here in the Nordics, but I grew up on a small island, and there was not that many people that were interested in this like kind of deep tech and like making tech that changes
Hmm.
the world.
Yeah.
Whereas in the tech scene, when I was traveling around to these conferences, there's more people that are connected to SF, have that same mindset, and it's that kind of side that I want to be on. The kind of people that
Hmm.
I like to meet, people who believe they can change the world and people who will change the world. You got to be a little bit crazy, and some people who only have been to one country, they don't know about that. So just traveling around Europe, meeting people, international people, it's very insightful actually. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Also at the same time, you just came back from Shenzhen and it
yep,
was a F word insane experience.
yep.
Um, can you give us the highlight reel? What blew your mind most, for this F word?
Yeah, so Shenzhen, I was in Shenzhen 2 months ago, 3 months
Hmm.
ago,
Hmm.
and yeah, it was my second time in China, and I thought it was super nice.
Hmm.
So if you haven't been to Shenzhen, you gotta go there. There's a lot of things happening there. Also in the tech space, um, there is much like I was in Shanghai before, but I felt like it wasn't that many tech people there. But when I was in Shenzhen, I just posted on
Hmm.
Twitter like I'm in Shenzhen, like who should I meet? And I got like thousand, not thousand, but like 10, like
Oh man.
a lot of people
Uh-huh.
that I can meet,
Uh-huh.
and it was super fun, like seeing people building like AI glasses and AI hardware, and it was very fun. A lot of people, yeah. But if you're going to Shenzhen, you definitely have to try the self-driving cars. They're super
Hmm.
cheap compared to Waymos. Like Waymos are expensive, man.
Yeah.
Um, a Waymo maybe costs like $30, $40 for a short trip.
Hmm.
Like if you take the self-driving car in Shenzhen, it might cost you like $4 or
Yeah.
$3. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and they feel very safe. They're very nice. Yeah, I would try the food delivery drones. They're very nice.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah. And then yeah, I mean, as always, just meet people. That's the best way. Like meet people,
Yeah.
go to factories, meet people like-minded people that do cool things. That's the best thing with traveling. Like seeing the
Hmm.
places, yeah, of course, but then meeting the people, that's the best thing.
Oh wow. So what did you talk about? The time when when you were meeting people,
Yeah.
like in Shenzhen, so they were
Yeah.
wearing AI glasses and all that. So what were we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super interesting to see people that have moved to China
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
think that is such a insane move from someone to do because here in the West, so many people are so scared of China. But then if I
Hmm.
see like a guy that moved at 17 years old, like from Europe to
Hmm.
China, like
Hmm.
that says, oh shit, this guy, he's ready to change the world. Uh,
Yeah.
like
I,
this guy is not afraid of things. Like he can do
uh-huh.
things. And
Hmm.
then yeah, I mean we can talk about anything. Like I thought it was very interesting to learn more about like hardware, the manufacturing process of how things are working in Shenzhen, visiting
Hmm.
factories, just talking to them, like seeing how deals are made in China. Like it's so much about relations. You just just kind of
Yeah.
vibe with them, send some stickers on the WeChat, and then then you have
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
deal. So
Exactly.
yeah, I really like it. I hate emails. Uh,
Hmm.
so I think like if you're sending emails here in the West, it might take okay. Hi, my name is Elliot. I want to visit your
Uh-huh.
factory. Can I visit your
Uh-huh.
factory in 5 months?
Uh-huh.
They might
Uh-huh.
reply to you in like 5 weeks. In
Yeah.
China, I can just add someone's WeChat, and then
Uh-huh.
after after like one day, they can say, yeah, you can come tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
So you were comparing Shenzhen to San Francisco, like not only just the Waymo and also like autonomous, taxi,
yeah,
not just, the Waymo autonomous taxi, from Shenzhen and San
yeah,
Francisco. So what does SF, and also you mentioned a lot of things about SF too.
yeah.
So what does SF have, that Shenzhen doesn't, and vice versa?
Homeless people. No, other than that, I don't know. I think the people that have moved to
Hmm.
Shenzhen from abroad,
Hmm.
they're there with
Hmm.
a goal and they want to build
Hmm.
hardware. What
Hmm.
SF people have natively is just like the psychology, like that
Yeah.
they just want to build. They don't see any limitations. Um,
Hmm.
and I think, yeah, I mean, I think Shenzhen has some of that. I think, like, from the people I met there, at least. So, I mean, it's
Hmm.
always about the people. But then, yeah, so why I thought it was like kind of a Shenzhen or SF of China is because I
Yeah.
felt like, I mean, you have Shenzhen here. It's a good lock-in place. Then you can like take the train to Hong Kong. That's like LA. You have like a lot of things going on. It's a new city. You can meet people. Like
Hmm.
it's yeah. It felt like it felt like SF of China. I don't know. It just felt like it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. So Elliot, you are 18, Swedish. You speak
yeah,
Swedish, English, coding English, and
yeah,
you are learning Mandarin.
yeah.
And you've been listening to Chinese rap songs. Why Chinese specifically? You just love the language. Before you started learning Chinese before you go to China, or
Yep.
what was the story there?
Yeah. So I realized like a year and a half ago
Hmm.
that I cannot see the difference between Japanese, Korean, and Chinese characters.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, shit. And I got mad at myself because I said, yo, how can you know so much things, but you don't see the difference between these characters? Like, that's so
Hmm.
dumb.
Hmm.
And then I was like, I gotta learn a language. And then Chinese was out of the question because I had the perception of like China, I don't want to go there. It was like the COVID thing. And I was like, well, what the
Uh-huh.
fuck should I do there?
Yeah.
So like I was scared. I was scared of China back then. So I wanted to learn Japanese. I started with Japanese, learned it for like 2 weeks. Then I switched to Korean, learned it for 2 weeks. Then I saw, oh shit, the air quality in South Korea is so bad. I want to switch to Japanese. Then I switched to
Hmm.
Japanese, and I was like, shit, Japanese. They have three alphabets. They have katakana, they have hiragana, and then they have kanji. Like kanji, fuck, it's Chinese
Hmm.
characters. This is too hard.
Hmm.
And then I dropped
Uh-huh.
it.
Uh-huh.
But then I had my friend, and I was
Uh-huh.
playing some games with him, and then I wanted to say some fun things in Chinese. So then just
Uh-huh.
translated a fun sentence to him in Chinese, like using Google
What was the
Translate.
sentence?
I don't remember really. It was a fun sentence. It was a fun
Okay.
sentence. Uh,
Yeah.
but then I saw that the grammar structure of Chinese was so straightforward. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I just started translating more things. Just started learning it. Then eventually I just started listening to Chinese music. And then yeah, I just got into it. I just got into it. Started listening to Chinese music, watching Chinese content, downloading
Uh-huh.
Douyin and
Uh-huh.
Xiaohongshu, and then yeah.
Oh wow. Do you have a Xiaohongshu account?
Yeah, I don't post though. I don't post.
Oh, you don't
So
post it. Okay, f fair.
I just
So,
yeah. Yeah.
so can you say something in Chinese for the Chinese listeners right now? Like, just
Uh,
greet them and say something, in Chinese.
可以可以你好，你们，我是 Elliot，我是瑞典人，我来自瑞典，但是我住在一个小岛才分了，这是我朋友李兰成，我现在在 Lovable 工作，但是这里没有很多中国人，我是第一次人。来 Lovable 会说中国，中文，对对对，
Oh man, it's gonna be fire. I'm not gonna lie. People will love this. I mean, this is absolutely fire. Like, how long have you been learning, like, this kind of thing? Like, how you even practice this? With who?
Yeah.
Like, did you practice by yourself?
Yeah, I started like a little bit over a year ago.
Hmm.
And how I learn is I listen to music. I like just sing with the lyrics. I cannot say it's good though. I don't remember. But I just like look at the lyrics. I like read it again. I have flashcards and then I just study it. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, so but a lot of young developers, these days they think, build it and they will come. Apparently, I think GitHub, posting your works before on GitHub, they helped. But do you think that's the only way that you did your distribution? What do you think about distribution and growth now? Do you think, apparently that building is not hard anymore, right? Because of you guys,
Yeah.
right? What do you think about, the changing space of the distribution world, the distribution and
Yeah.
growth world?
Yeah, I recommend like the personal branding. It's the best way. You just gotta
Hmm.
build things in public. Just launch what
Yeah.
you're building. Let people know
Hmm.
about you, and do some crazy stuff. Like why should someone follow me? You should think about. And then
Yeah.
maybe if you learn Chinese, you can say, I speak Chinese, and then it's like this guy is cool. I want to follow him. Or like
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like I built this cool tool, and then I'm like I want to follow him. But if you're like a guy
Hmm.
that done nothing. Like, why should I follow you? Like,
Hmm.
why are you interesting? Like, you gotta be an interesting person,
Yeah.
for building the personal brand.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So for Lovable, do you think it's more like so Lovable apparently is solving the building problem, right? So the building problem is important for Lovable, but also, as an AI company, do you guys see that you're gonna support people building businesses, or you're gonna, more lean towards people building a product? So which, because that building a business is a part of, like, the balance between the distribution and also the product, but building a product is pretty much just the product, right? So which one that you think Lovable is focusing on? Or what do you feel about, like, like if today you are building a business again, right? So you mentioned about, okay, you're gonna build in public, apparently, you're gonna build a personal brand.
yeah,
Um, but what other things that you think, these days, especially for the audience today, I assume a lot of them they are builders, right? A lot of them they're builders. They own their own business. They want to ship a product and also have people used, have people to use, different products like what you did in the past, right? 140K or 150K users, so they want to grow their user base. At Lovable, apparently you have experience of seeing the whole picture, not only just the AI product space, but also like the AI business in general. That's the reason why you come up with a lot of insightful, stuff just now. Like you say, apps are still gonna exist. AI agent is gonna be the coordination layer and all that. So I kind of feel like, what do you so first of all, I think I just pretty much just, said a lot of things just now. So one thing is, at Lovable, do you think you want to support people building product or supporting people building businesses, and also in your own, views? So what do you think about, in terms of people building businesses, um, apart from the personal brand strategy, personal branding strategy? On top of that, what do you think, the cutting edge distribution channel has been formed, at the age of AI? Because distribution is becoming more crucial right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So in Lovable right now,
Hmm.
um, in the start when it was GPT engineer and was the early days of Lovable, we were focusing on letting you build a product.
Hmm.
We wanted you to be able to get your vision into reality. And that
Hmm.
is the way it's been for a long time. It is the way a lot of tools have been for a long time. But now, when the AI is getting better, that it can actually like now with Lovable, you can actually build a whole business. You couldn't do that before. Like
Hmm.
now with AI, like I can build a whole Shopify store with products. I can build a whole SaaS and I can sell something. I can have subscriptions and all of that. And the problem now that many people are facing is that, oh shit, I build something now, what?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is a problem that we are going to solve as well. We want everyone to be able to use Lovable to not only build but also distribute their product. We want people build a nice SaaS, and then we want to help them because a lot of people, I think it's a clarity for me because I'm a
Hmm.
social media japper. Like I
Hmm.
find it clear how I want to get something out to people. I just
Hmm.
go talk to them, I make a call, I post on Twitter, I post on LinkedIn. But to a lot of people, it's not clear. How do I actually reach out to people? How do I make this Reddit post? How do I post on Facebook? How do I set up ads? How do I get a YouTube influencer? How do I get
Hmm.
TikTok influencers to do this? And I think that's a next big step moving forward to let the users not only build a product but also build the company on Lovable.
Hmm. Do you think this is a missing piece in this entire industry right now? Like we don't because apparently, I did some survey, not survey, but I checked some survey. I did some research before. So, I saw, what the agent is going to change. First of all, apparently they're going to change the software engineering, but it's like, 10 times, more than other sectors. Like distribution, nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody's doing anything in terms of the AI agent, in the distribution world. But, building itself is getting easier. So we're gonna see lots of apps, and also like so many things are gonna be accelerated by you guys as well, right? So, but the distribution, I haven't seen any business agents that can help people to distribute. Even today that you mentioned about finding TikTok influencers and different other things. There's no such a way. It's very hard. I still feel like it's very manually heavy to do this. Like people don't know where to begin. This is something I have seen, by myself. I saw people like, yapping on Twitter. But the thing is, if they really want to ship it out and have something, to reach to as many people as possible, this is one thing they are facing. I literally had a conversation with an indie hacker. Like he vibe coded, something in a few days, and apparently it did super well because it was generating revenue immediately for him. But the only thing is, over time, it has hit a bottleneck. It has hit a revenue bottleneck because it cannot. It's kind of like, if you want to make a certain amount of money, you initially only need to reach to 10,000 people. And later on, if you want to double it, you don't only double the number of the people you reach. You probably need to three times or even five times of the users that you reach. So later on, that's how you can double the revenue. But the thing is, people are hitting a bottleneck because um, yeah, they just pretty much just cannot reach enough users and don't know how. Like have a product market fit, but the thing is they need a 3x and 5x your user base, but they don't have a way to do this these days. So this is one thing that I've seen. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But also like, what's your shield moment? So what are you working on and excited about that you want people to know about?
On
You
Lovable?
said you are a you yeah, or just personally, you said you are a yapper, So
Yeah.
what do you want to yap about?
Yeah, right now I think my yapping things have been kind of dead,
Hmm.
but that's because I've been kind of busy working and building cool things. Um, but yeah, but what I'm most bullish on right now is
Hmm.
making it easier for people to take that next step after building something unlovable, to
Hmm.
let them distribute it to people, and then also for people to use Lovable programmatically. Because I saw a super nice use case when I was in SF and we had a
Hmm.
hackathon, and there was this guy that
Hmm.
wanted to build an app or an agent that looks on Google Map in his local area, sees
Uh-huh.
businesses that don't have a proper website. So he took
Oh
that
wow.
information and
Uh-huh.
then he wanted Lovable to create a website for them. He wanted to send an email saying, "Oh, I made this website for you. Like, pay me $50 and you can have this
Uh-huh.
website."
Uh-huh.
The problem is Lovable doesn't have an API like that yet, but I think that can be a very nice thing to have for people. Like, let's say you can connect it to whatever you want. You can connect it to Cloudbot or something. You can make Cloudbot start making websites for you through Lovable
Oh
and
yeah.
deploy them already. Yeah.
Yeah. So you pretty much, see Lovable as an application and later on going back to your thesis that, the agents will be coordinating different other things,
Yeah. And
through the
now
API
agents
with
can
Lovable.
coordinate Lovable. I think that's the thing that I'm bullish on. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So what are some of the final thoughts that you want to share with the audience, for example, let's say today, if they are either a Lovable user or they are trying to build something. Like it's the first time they do a startup, right? So for
Yeah.
example, you are pretty talented, apparently, have so many achievements and you are very, ambitious. You have traveled around the world, have seen the world internationally, quite young. So what do you see? Apparently I assume that you have met so many interesting people you have also met so many, successful people like who might be running their startups. So what do you want to share? So what do you have learned, from them in common, and you want to share with the audience? So some final thoughts on your side,
Yeah. I want to say
even
that
from
like
you.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean just general advice to people that are gonna
Hmm.
build startups,
Hmm.
and that is to like you need to stand out. Like you cannot do normal things if you're making a startup. You gotta be a
Hmm.
bit crazy. Like you gotta have some crazy thoughts. You have to think that nothing stopped me because I'm gonna change the world. And that's the first thing. Like you have to accept that okay, I'm building something crazy and I'm going to build it.
Hmm.
And once you have accepted that, then you need to don't be scared to share what you're building. Like talk to people, let them know like oh, this is what I'm building. And if your idea is complete garbage, like don't do it. Like
Yeah.
I've had some garbage ideas back in the days because they had no scalability. But I was talking like in my first kind of like startup thing. I've never done like a full proper startup myself. I've just done like some kind of side businesses that generated a little bit of revenue.
Hmm.
But what I realized is like they eventually grew better and better. But what I realized in the start is that I have this idea, but I'm not gonna tell anyone about it. I'm just gonna keep it for
Uh-huh.
myself. I'm just gonna register the domain name. I'm gonna have it in stealth.
Hmm.
I'm not even gonna tell my friends what it is. I'm not gonna tell them what the name is, how it works, because they might steal the idea. Like people don't have energy to steal your idea. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so just talk to people because then you will realize if the idea is complete shit or if it's like actually feasible. And
Yeah.
if it is feasible, then just convince people that it's a good idea and try to find someone that want to use it.
Hmm.
Then you can start building. And once you start building, don't be afraid to share it with the world. Like let people know on Twitter, on LinkedIn that you're building this. Like build a personal brand. Like, oh shit, I'm 18 years old. I'm building this
Yeah.
startup. Like, oh, I'm 18 years old. I traveled solo from Europe to China and now I'm building some
Yeah.
hardware. Like that's interesting. Like that's
Yeah.
cool. Like being special and then build special shit. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
what is the craziest thing that you have seen? The craziest,
Craziest. I mean,
You talk
honestly,
about it.
I mean,
Yeah.
one of the craziest things I've seen are the people that are moving moving to China. I think that's crazy. Like, no, but honestly, like it's so random. Like like 5 years ago, I would never like see some like not 17-year-old European guys like randomly just deciding to say like let's move to China and build AI glasses. I think that is a very like very cool thing that I see. And then also the people that like I don't know, like the people that just don't see that there's no limit.
Hmm.
I mean, I think I see that with Lovable as well. Like we don't see no limits. We just keep building. And then also, I mean, many of my friends, like I cannot tell you that much about it, but some of them have like insane ideas like that. Like in a space that hasn't been touched in ages. Like let's say that we have four players, and they're all
Hmm.
competing with each other, like billion-dollar companies. And then this
Yeah.
guy comes in and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna build my own. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's some cool. Like, are you gonna be able to do it? And he's like, yeah, I raised a couple million already. I'm like, okay, everything's possible, bro. You can do it, man. You just gotta be dedicated and
Everything's possible.
yeah,
Yep.
everything's possible. Just do it.
Well said. Okay, Elliot, that's pretty much all my questions.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the audience will benefit a lot from your thoughts and, this conversation. Yeah. Thank you so
cool.
much for joining me.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.